RMC Sanada Shiro, 24 years old, was being forced to join some fishing event held by his black company. He was forced to join it. Having no gear or experience in fishing, he asks his boss if he will be paid for the overtime as it will be Sunday the next day. His boss just gives him an angry look, and he goes to buy some fishing gear for tomorrow. Having bought the gear, he was disappointed in his company as no one ever praises him or rewards him for all his hard work. He thinks about changing his job and going to bed early for tomorrow's event, but fate had something else in the shop for him. He finds himself standing before what seems to be a broken-down castle gate. Turns out that after getting the fishing gear, the next day when they were on the boat, he caught a flounder fish which gave him the ability of creation magic, and then suddenly a black hole opened in the sea, sucking him into it in an instant. The surroundings change, and he finds himself in an unfamiliar place. Our protagonist was bummed for not getting a reincarnation transport. My man just wanted to meet Truck-kun, maybe next time. Still not sure if it is another world, he decides to take a stroll around the place, thinking it's some other country, when suddenly a spear comes flying out of nowhere, missing his head by a couple of inches. He sees some men heading towards him clad in full body armor. They surround him from all the direction, leaving no escape. Turns out martial law was declared and no citizen should be around this area. The man in armor thinks that he is a collaborator of the royal army. Our bro doesn't understand a word and is scared shitless in front of all those shining friendship spears. He tries to explain that he is just an employee of the Black Company. Then the captain of the soldiers said they wouldn't kill a valuable man like him, and they start high-fiving each other for some reason. The captain removes his helmet and says, "Relax, we won't kill you, but that depends on whether or not you satisfy us." Where is bro heading with this? They force RMC to come with them, and then RMC sees that all the men in armor are actually women. They are also talking about deserving a reward. RMC thinks about looking for an opening while all the women talk about where they should have their way with him. As soon as he thinks it's time, he tries to shake her off, but her strength is abnormal of a woman. She squeezes his hand hard. Ouch. They take him to some kind of prison cell or dungeon. "Lick it," she says, and RMC gets to work. Am I allowed to show this on YouTube? Meanwhile, two more women bicker to each other for going next, and says how nice his hair smell. Captain of the Knights says to RMC to start his work, and the other tries to push him in it, because they want their turn to come soon. Sanada Shiro tries to do his work, but because of the horrendous smell of armor sweat, he thinks if this is the unique smell of, that, and vomits because of the smell all over her thighs, and on that, in anger, the captain gives Sanada a kick on the stomach. Ouch, that gotta hurt. Sanada rolls on the ground, clenching his stomach with both the hands. She cleans herself and grabs him by the mouth, and says how dare he humiliate her, and she is going to violate him until he begs for forgiveness. They tie him up to a table. She says he is not very lively, and says some magic chant, which we muggles can't understand. After that chant, in MC's words, his little Joe stands up. Keck. He wonders if this the power of magic, and when they were about to take our man's virginity, some women in armor walk in, asking what they all doing. They try to make some excuse, but she just sends them to their posts. She asks RMC to get dressed. After he does, Princess Christia walks in. But in chains? Sanada thinks what an important figure like her is doing in prison like this and guesses she is a refined lady. "How dare you confine me?" a voice echoes, and her true feisty nature is on full display. Turns out she is the warrior princess of House Regalta, and the royal capital has fallen because of the betrayal of General Houston, and her execution is in 3 days. After having this conversation, the warden leaves, after which an awkward silence follows. Breaking the silence, RMC tries to make some small talk, and asks her where they are. She tells him that they are in Regalta, the royal capital of the kingdom of Regalta, and asks if he was brought here from somewhere else. RMC tells her that he is not from this world and his name is Sanada Shiro, 24 years old. He tells her his story, after which she hugs her, and his face gets buried right in her chest. Enough, she says. She thinks that his experience must have been awful, that's why he is telling such fantasy so passionately. She also thinks that he comes from a rich house because of his clothing and tells him stay like this until he calms down. Sanada thought she is hot-tempered, but she is actually kind. After seeing our MC getting somewhat embarrassed, she says he is a sweetheart, and won't force herself onto him. But in our MC's mind, things were opposite. He thinks he won't actually mind being held, and even if she messes him up. Bro? He asks her if there are any men because he hasn't seen any since coming here. Turns out that, as they are in war, all the men are in hiding, or else they would be abducted, just like him, and they can't become soldiers. This country of Rejalta and their enemy empire of Lurgoa only employs women as soldiers. Also in this world men cannot use magic, their strength is also inferior to women, a man is a feeble being. As a feeble one himself, Sanada worries if he will be able to survive in this world. But he thinks that flounder fish, which he caught, gave him magic. She asks him where he came from, and he tells her that he came from Japan, an island country with population of 126 million. She again thinks it's one of his stories, and he is trying to lighten her up and laughs, and tells him that she will be executed in 3 days, but he will not be killed. He will be enslaved and presented to nobility as a reward, or sent to the frontier as a pioneer. He asks if she can use magic. Turns out, she is among top 5 magic users in the country, but can't use it because of the handcuffs. They are special handcuffs which seals the magic of the wearer. Then he asks her if they can escape successfully without getting caught, if those handcuffs are removed. She apologizes for his current state and thinks it's their fault, that they let the Empire take over the Ragalda capital, saying it's not your fault. Sanada remembers that the flounder fish gave him magic and asks her what's the process to use magic. She tells him that young children start by deeply introspecting and gazing at their own characteristics. But our guy thinks if saying status open will work, and bam! Right as he says it, a status window opens in front of him, reading along the lines of Creation Magic Level 1, MP 40 out of 40, Food Production, Tool Production, Weapon Production, Material Production. He tries to create some medicine, panacea, but gets shocked when he sees the production time, which was 247 years, and thinks he will be long gone before this completes. The princess is puzzled and asks him what he has been doing all this time. He tries to show her, but she just comes out of the screen, like it's not even there. He tells her that he can use magic, but she just thinks he is trying to comfort her again, and buries him in her chest again. This must have been the best day in Bro's entire life. She tells him a man can't use magic and he should pull himself together and get back to reality. Bro is enjoying this too much, isn't he? He thinks if after this she will have her way with him. When she sees that he has calmed down, she releases him and goes to take some rest. Bro is disappointed that she didn't do anything with him. Of course he is disappointed, but at least he is honest with his feelings, not like some other MCs who runs away whenever a girl tries to get close. While she is resting, he thinks of trying some things. As his skill level is only 1, he can only make water and bread in food category. In description it says that he can reduce the production time if he has water around him, like river or sea water or any kind of dirty water, and can be turned into drinkable water. So he tries to make some water and level up his skill. He activates his skill and sees on status window that the timer has started. After activation of the skill, production is automatic. Sanada sees his vomit, which he vomited overnight, captain's thing. The smell of the vomit was getting very bad. He sees a bucket for the toilet, and thinks this prison cell is very unsanitary, and if he will catch some contagious disease, so he decides to make some other medicines beside the panaceas. He sees that he can make penicillium, which will take about 47 hours. But as medicine production tab is still locked, it won't be possible to make them right now, so he thinks of making a rag to make mop, but without any materials at hand even a simple mop will take 6 hours to make. 22 minutes have passed and only 8 minutes are left before the water is done. Bro glances at the princess and starts taking his pants off to start cleaning his own vomit. He gets naked, but before he can start, princess wakes up and asks him if he is crying. He gets startled and tries to explain his situation, but the princess hugs him from behind and says, "You are sweet, Shiro." She again thinks he is trying to comfort her. Bro, what is wrong with this princess? But our hero is smart and starts playing along and says he feels sorry for her, which makes the princess blush a little. She starts touching our hero a little here and there, saying she has some experience with men. When she finally touches his little Joe, Sanada goes to heaven. She asks him if he can undress her, and our MC gets excited, but water washes over all his dream literally, because the production time for water has ended, and with a sound of ding, notification comes in front of the milkers. Sanada tries to remove the notification, but it won't budge and keeps asking for a place for the water to be. Appeared, bro, this notification is everywhere. In a hurry, Sanada points it at the ground, and with a splash the water drops on the floor, and he understands that he needs a container to contain the water, but decides to focus on the task at hand. They start doing their work. And after everything is done, they lay on the wooden bed, our MC's face in between them again. She says that he did great, and now she has no regrets in this world, and goes to sleep. Our bro gets up and thinks how she will be executed in 3 days and wants to remove those handcuffs so they can escape. The next day, Princess Chris asks Sanada to get away from the bed and destroys a chunk out of the leg, and says after sleeping with him she does not want to die like this, and wants to use the broken bed leg to sever her wrist. Well, that's a bit much, extreme girl. Our bro is dumbfounded, and she continues that if she can get out of those handcuffs she will be able to use magic. She can't use healing magic, but she will close it with fire magic. Bros, seriously? She will destroy as much bone as possible with the first blow, and wants Sanada to tear off the remaining flesh and skin. Sanada is horrified and tries to stop her, saying using his magic, in 2 hours he can free her. But she cuts him off, saying as if a man can use magic, he begs her to stop, and just wait for 2 hours. She complies and says he will have to assist with her plan after 2 hours passes, and they should make their escape in the middle of night. After some time she says it will be 2 hours soon, but Sanada denies it, saying there's still 27 minutes left. She asks how is he so accurate, and he shows her his wristwatch. She is puzzled and a switch inside of her clicks, thinking it's again one of his lies to comfort her. She puts down the broken wooden piece and orders Sanada to hold it tightly, and he yells at her to stop, but she won't listen. He wonders how can he stop her for 27 minutes, nothing coming to mind. He just asks her to have sex with him to buy some time, saying he is scared and wants some of her strength, to which she agrees, and starts to undress. In the next panel we see clothes flying. Because the bed was broken they end up doing it on the floor. She starts being rough, and our hero is at his limit, but seeing that there's still 22 minutes left, Sanada steals his resolve, and does it for 22 minutes straight. After which he is panting hard and is gasping for air. As soon as they are done, so is the time for the item production. She asks if he's satisfied and they should start with their plan. But Sanada lifts both his hand and designate them as place of the appearance, and soon a file comes in hand. Princess Chris is shocked to see such miracle. Turns out Sanada had already queued a file yesterday's night and had used the iron bar from window as its material. He shows her the file, saying he made it with his creation magic. Chris starts thinking something and after some time comes to a conclusion that Sanada is a woman, Kek. With the help of the file they break the chains of the Princess Chris, after which the magic resist effect gets removed and she uses a destructive spell. She also uses sleeping mist on the guard, which puts him in sleep, and breaks the bed to check if her physical strength is working, after which she uses some kind of magic and sharpens her hand and all the iron starts dropping one by one. After which the window is fully open. That's a top 5 mage for you. They use the hole to escape the prison cell. After enjoying their freedom and fresh air of outside, they start their escape and Sanada wonders if it was good idea to go along with her. Maybe he just wants to be a slave. They arrive in front of a chapel which has an underground passageway which leads to outside. Princess Chris takes care of the guards and opens the chapel gates and Sanada follows suit. Turns out the passage will take them to Monson Park and after that they will head for the Falap fishing harbor. Sanada is lost and Chris says that they will get a boat from there. Sanada is not happy after hearing that they will travel by boat. My man's past traumas are flashing in front of him. After escaping the castle through the underground passage, they were spotted several times by Imperial soldiers once they arrive at the harbor. But Princess Chris took care of them like a demon. They hijacked a fisherman's boat and set sail at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. Sanada thought that Chris can handle a boat, but she can't, so they were drifting with the current. Sanada was using his creation magic to make water. Using sea water, the time was reduced to only 5 minutes. It took only 2 MP. But experience was also little. After making water and placing it in jar, he tries to make some bread, which would take about an hour, but using water and salt from the sea, it was reduced to 50 minutes. While using the skill, MP won't be restored, but when not using it, MP will restore at a rate of 1 MP per minute. Sanada tells Chris that the water is ready and she thanks him, and calls him her guardian angel, because without him she wouldn't be able to survive. Sanada imagines himself as a guardian angel, but his thoughts are disturbed by Chris. She yells, "I can see an island," and starts rowing the boat. She rows so fast that Sanada could go flying if he did hold onto the boat. Soon the island is in sight. The island is huge, with a lot of trees and hills. After reaching the ground, they lay there to feel the heat of the sand. It's a tropical island. Chris jumps on a tree and grabs some coconuts for them to eat. Chris says that they should scout their surrounding, to look if this island is inhabited or not, and if it's a deserted one, they should expect some monsters. Sanada sees a slime monster and thinks so this world also has monsters. Sanada tells her that he have seen slimes in video games, but Chris doesn't understand, so he just tells her that he has seen them in paintings, and asks if they are dangerous. Chris tells Sanada that if you get closer, they will cover you in their digestive fluids. If not washed immediately, they would get skin irritation. Slimes are benign monsters, and they eat and decompose human excrements and garbage. That's why one should not kill them indiscriminately. They were walking along the shore to check how big the island is, and Sanada gets tired, so Chris tells him to hop on her back, and he does just that, and Chris starts exploring the island very fast, jumping tree to tree while giving Sanada a piggyback ride. Sanada asks her to walk on the ground, but she denies it, saying it's faster this way. Sanada lets go of her after getting hit by a branch. Not wanting to get dropped by this height, he quickly tries to grab onto the princess, but in hurry he grabs onto those milkers, and she says it's still too early for this, and Sanada just squeals like a high school girl. They arrive on a little opening, but it was still covered by huge grass, so Chris sharpens her hand with magic and starts cutting all the grass and trees. After resting a bit, they start exploring again. They arrive at the foot of a hill, and Chris takes him for piggyback ride again, and Prince of Persia's her way on top of the hill. After looking at the island from the hill, they summarize that island is around 25 kilometers in circumference, no human trace, no monsters, only slimes and some wild animals, and vegetation is also the same from Sanada's world. Chris asks Sanada if he would like to eat the fruits they collect during their investigation, but Sanada shows her bread which he made with his creation magic. Chris is shocked, and Sanada tries to be cute by saying it's his first time making bread, and Chris gets jolted by electricity after seeing how cute he looks. After eating, they again start exploring the island. They start looking for a cave near the river, but couldn't find anything, so Chris again uses her magic to sharpen her hand, and starts digging through the mountain only using her hand. Bro, what is this magic? While she is digging a cave, Sanada goes back to the beach for food and water, and once he comes back he sees Princess Chris standing in front of a door, which she made with her hands literally. She even made windows, and a table and chairs, and even a bed. Sanada is shocked after seeing all the space and furniture and praises her a little, which makes Chris a bit embarrassed. He asks Chris what is their plan going forward, and she tells him that they were swept away towards the southeast, so if they go towards the east, they will reach Bawanda Citadel. They dealt a heavy blow to the Imperial army, and forced them to retreat. They have fertile lands within sturdy walls, and a stockpile that will last 10 years, so if they go there they will be safe. Sanada thinks if she is telling him this they will be fine, but his mind is still not at ease. Chris heads out to gather some palm fronds for the bed, and animals so they can eat some meat. While she is out hunting, Sanada goes to look for some plants for materials so he can make some bags. He finds some vines, and with those vines as material, the production time on harvesting bag will be reduced 4 hours, which originally was 8 hours. Currently he is making bread which gives him 6 XP. After that he thinks of making the harvesting bag, and gets happy that he is about to level up his skill. Soon Sanada gets back from the forest and finds Princess Chris laying on bed. She compliments the bed by saying this bed is much better than the one they had in prison, but Sanada tries to say something, and Chris cuts him off by saying she couldn't find anything, and will hunt something tomorrow. she will catch something because they will need energy. Once they leave this island they will have to fight. Sanada asks her to leave him on this island. She gets shocked and asks him why he is saying such things. Sanada explains that he is useless in a fight, and will only get in her way. He thinks that she was caught once, and if she has to look after him while fighting then she will lose at some point, so he wants her to leave him on this island as he can make basic things for his survival with his creation magic. Once he levels up his skill he might eventually make something which he can use in a fight, but he doesn't know when that eventually will come, and she seems in a hurry so she should go without him. After hearing all this Chris gets teary eyes and starts hugging, and apologizes to him. Sanada hugs her back. Soon night follows suit, and they did some things while cameraman made us wait outside. Sanda is completely drained and Chris praises him as he is getting better at it. Sanada did something with his hand and mouth, which Chris has never heard of but definitely enjoyed it, and is pleased. With sound of ding Sanada gets a notification. Princess Chris asks him what happened and he tells her that he just finished making the harvesting bag, but gets shocked after noticing that his creation magic level has also increased to level 2, other than his MP nothing changed so he gets a bit sad. So Chris makes a joke that he should not rush it, as it doesn't level up rapidly as he does in bed. Sanada blush a little and then they both laugh. Next day Sanada is harvesting fruits and putting it in his new bag which he made with his magic. He is currently making a 4-liter water jug for Princess Chris to take with her on her journey towards east. The jug will take about 10 hours in making but using ground soil as material, it's reduced to 6 hours. Sanada thinks that a knife is essential while gathering fruits, but he still can't make one. So he picks a chipped stone and starts sharpening it. While he was doing this Princess Chris comes back with a huge boar. She used a magic arrow to take it down, but doesn't know how to skin it. Sanada is also an amateur so she decides to just do it. She sharpens her hand with magic, doing a splendid job of removing skin and organs, and they are left with delicious boar meat. She wonders if they can preserve it by smoking the meat. They made a box with the help of Chris chopping some trees into planks, and uses fire magic to produce smoke. Sanada thinks that he thought he will be fine alone, but seeing how she made a cave, and all this, thinks he will have a hard time alone. It's night time and our lovebirds are at it again. They are doing the farewell socks. While doing it Sanada says he has a request, and after telling her the request, he goes on top of her, and starts doing it. Chris never thought she will ever be in this position, and asks him to start moving as he sees fit. After which we are again made to wait outside. Curse you cameraman! Next day Chris is on the boat, and Sanada is helping her putting all the necessary things on the boat. She asks Sanada if he is okay because he ran out of steam yesterday's night. Sanada starts blushing and Chris says that it was her first time having a man on top of her, but she enjoyed it, and he was looking adorable working so hard, after which Sanada gets embarrassed, and asks her to stop, and wishes her good luck on her journey. Princess Chris replies by saying that she would have gladly taken him as her concubine. After saying their goodbyes, Chris leaves, leaving Sanada all alone. Now that Princess Chris Sama is gone, Sanada will have to make a flint to start his own fires. Also a pot, a fishing rod, soap, razor. He wants to level up quickly so maybe he can join her again. Let's end this part here guys. If you all enjoyed the episode, and want more then please like the video. For part 2, let's make like goal of 350 likes. If we hit that, I will make the second part. And make sure to hit subscribe, so you don't miss any future updates. Till then, bye.